Hello and welcome to Stamping and Creating with Fiona. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Fiona Whitten and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator based in Wokingham in the UK. So as I said, this is my Stamping and Creating video. Well, I am live here on Facebook and I'm just going to check really quickly that that it is actually going out live. My phone says I am, but I just wanted to make sure. Yep, looks like I am. That is good. Right, okay. So, Stamping and Creating this week, I'm going to share a fun fold card. It's actually pretty easy. It starts off, and this is my sample that I made a couple of days ago. So it starts off as a simple gatefold card, as you can see. So we have one panel, second panel and the central panel. So this will fit into a standard size C6 envelope here in the UK. And the only difference really from a standard gatefold is the fact that there are two panels added to the front. So I use the Zany Zoo stamp set because that little critter there is stamped. I haven't coloured him. I decided I was going to leave him just as he is. And also the Zoo Crew paper. So the lion and the trees were fussy cut out. But then you have this one. So when you open this up, you can see. So we have two critters there, and then we have another. We have some trees and a little critter chasing some butterflies. And it'll stand like a normal standard card. So that's what I'm aiming for, but I'm not going to be using the Zoo Crew and Zany Zoo again. I'm going to be using, so this paper here is a rather large pack of paper you'll find in the annual catalogue. And you'll find it on page 129, let's see, and it's called Delightfully Eclectic. So it's a whole pack of, it's actually 48 sheets, and there are, it says four each of 12 double-sided designs. So I'm using the one with the little bubble bath flowers. So that's my plan. So it's actually this one, and on the reverse side, I'll show you what the reverse side looks like. It has cloth stripes. So that's the paper I'm going to use. I have a sheet of bubble bath cardstock. So this is just an A4 sheet. I also have some real red, which I may or may not introduce. Primarily because there is real red here in the centre of the little flowers. So if I do bring it in, it's not going to be the main colour. And of course I've got some basic white. And I thought I would use the Sentimental Park stamp set. Flowers here kind of tie in with the flowers on the paper. So that is the plan. So I'm going to make the base card out of the bubble bath cardstock. So I've got my cardstock. Let's put everything else to one side. And it starts off as just what you would cut from a standard card. So here's my A4. It's 29.7 across and 21 wide. So I'm going to cut it in half at, I'm going to cut, it's really 14.85, which is half of 29.7. You can just use 14.9, it just means that your piece that you've got left is just slightly shorter by about a millimetre than standard. And then, to make the gatefold, need to score it because I want a middle section to be 10.5 and this is 21, so I need to score it at 5.5 Now if you've got the metric scoreboard, there is actually a 5 1/4, I should say, mark on that, so it takes the guessing out. Now you could, after you've put your first score line in, simply fold this over to meet here, but I'm going to wing it. I'm going to brave it and do another 5 1/4 on this side. And remember, you want to use the light grey for scoring, so the light grey blade is for scoring. So let's see how that works. So I have that piece, and then hopefully this piece will fold over and meet. Not quite, it's just a tiny bit out, so I'm going to just use my fingers to kind of bring it together, and then sort of hopefully will be it. So that's how to make a basic gatefold card. But we're going a little bit further than that because we want 2 panels to go across the middle. And I'm going to use, am I going to use Bubble Bath or am I going to use the Real Red? Oh, I don't know. But let me think about that whilst I'm cutting the other pieces to go on the card. So I'm going to want some panels to go on the front here to decorate this piece. So I'm going to use Real Red for my first layer. And I need to cut 2 of those because we have two sides to the card, or the front of the card here. So we've got 1 and 2. And they need to be, let's see, 4.8. Because this is 5 1/4 across, and I like to do like 1/2 centimetre smaller. So the nearest thing really is, so I'm going to just cut this in half so that I'm only working with 1/2, and then I know I've got another whole half that I can use to make a card. So let us go 4.8, so I need 2 of these. First one, 4.8 again for the second one, and then I need to cut it so that the length is 14.4. So this should fit nicely on top of this. Yay! Lo and behold, it does. 14.4 again. Like so. So that's going to go in there. Now I'm going to put a panel on the inside of the card as well, and then I'm going to put some white on top. So the inside panel for the Real Red, first of all, will be 10 by 14.4. Like so. So that will go on the inside of my card here, and then I will put some white on it as well, because obviously it's going to be difficult. Well, you can write on the Real Red, but it'll be difficult to see it. So that's going to go on there, that's going to go on there. Get rid of that little bit so that I don't get confused with it and these little pieces. Now I'll do the white in a second, so bring back my paper. Now I know we're not going to see a lot of this, but I do like this piece of paper. I think it's really pretty. And obviously if you don't want to make the 2 panels, then you can just use this as a straightforward gatefold card. So I'm going to need a piece that is 4.3, and I need 2 of them again. So I'm just lightly making sure my paper is top and bottom at 4.3. I'm sorry, you can't see the bottom portion, but I haven't made sure that it's lined up at 4.3. And then these need to be 13.9. So you know what, I'm gonna pretend that we're just making a straightforward gatefold card to start off with, so you can see what it would look like as a gatefold. And then you can decide if you would want to take it the next stage. And some white. So my white needs to go on the inside, which is going to be 9.5. Then it's 0.5 centimetre smaller than the piece that I've already put in there. So it's going to be 9.5 wide by 13.9 tall. So that will fit on the inside. Now, if you're going to decorate your inside piece, then I would suggest you do that before you actually glue it in, especially if you're going to be stamping on it, because if you make a boo-boo, it's easy to then just turn it over. If you stick it in and then stamp and then make a boo-boo, it's like, oh, and yeah, you'd be sort of kicking yourself for doing that. So I would recommend that you actually just simply, before you glue it, stamp it, put your sentiment on, or whatever it is that you want to do. So as I said, I'm using the Sentimental Park, and I'm just going to use this flower here, or the bunch of flowers. Let's see if I find a block that's big enough. I'm going to stamp it in Tuxedo Black because I want to colour it very quickly. And I'm going to use my Stampin' blends for that. And because the blends are alcohol markers, then Tuxedo Black, which is water-based, works better. Now, which way do I want this? I think I'm going to put it that way. Like so. Now this is, because it's photopolymer, normally I would say you need to put something slightly softer underneath so that you make sure that you have get a good impression from your stamp set. When it comes to the line images, it's not such a big deal. Certainly if I was going to use this one, for example, which is this one here, which is a solid image, then yes, I would put something softer underneath there so that when I press down, I got a proper full impression of it. But I'm not going to use that, I'm just going to use my blends. I'm going to just quickly colour. I'm sort of colouring but not colouring. I'm leaving some white. Sometimes it's nice just to leave a bit of white on it. And my colouring is never perfect, so I'm going to make that. So that was the light bubble bath. I'm going to make this the dark one. So I should be able to tell that there is a slight difference. Go over it again, like so. And then I'm going to make the centres real red, like they are on the paper that's going on the front. So I'm just going to quickly do those, like so. Okay, right, get some glue. Comes in handy when it comes to gluing things together. So I've got some Tombow, just the liquid glue that you'll find in the catalogue. Talking of catalogues, if you don't have a UK or Ireland, Irish demonstrator and you would like a Stampin' Up! Catalogue, please get in touch. I'm quite happy to send you one. So that's going to get on there, and then that's going to go inside. Like that. that's the inside of my card done. I will stamp that image again on the envelope so that I have coordinating card and envelope. So that's going to be there, and then I'm going to just glue my paper to the real red piece, like so, and glue that on one of the pieces for the front of the card. That's going to go on there. If you have the card open, then you can see and sort of try and line up the top and bottom pieces of the red so that it's like, looks like a continuous piece. So that's that. And then again, this one, I think I must have caught the edge there. So glue onto the paper. And then that goes onto the piece of real red, like so, and then this will go on the card front. Hello, Elizabeth. Thank you. Yeah, it's very pretty paper. And that's going to go on here. Like again, as I said, if you've got that other flap open, you can see inside the card, and then you can line up again. I'm hoping that this is all lined up because I really. And then that. Yeah, that's pretty much so. So that's a basic gatefold card. And then you could add a sentiment or a focal point on the front. If you're going to add a focal point on the front, you need to remember that you only want to glue it, and same as a sentiment, you don't want to glue it right across because then you can't open your card. So you just want to glue it to one side or the other so that when you opened it, it will just be stuck to one side. But as I said, I'm going to take this a stage further and make 2 panels to go on the front. And as I put my lid on my glue for a minute so that it doesn't dry up, and put it back in the pot so it's upside down. Don't leave my stamp set for a minute, just put that out of the way so I don't end up knocking it off like I tend to have a habit of doing. Right, I'm going to keep my basic white because I might want to put a sentiment or do something with that. So that the $64 million question is, do I do pink or do I do the bubble bath going across, or do I do the real red going across? I think I'm going to do the real red. So I want 2 panels. Now I don't want them to be as wide as the card. So the card is 10 centimetres. So it's 10 centimetres inside, so that red panel there is 10.5 wide. That red panel there is 10 wide. So that's what I might do. So I want 2 pieces that measure, actually thinking about it, that's 10. I'm going to do it so that it comes to the edge of that. So that would be 9.5. So if I do that at 9.5. This is the bit where I always end up winging it, just trying to work out how big I want these panels to be. And I'm going to do them 6.5 centimetres wide. So they're going to be 9.5 going across the card and 6.5 going up. Let's see what that looks like. It always You can always trim things down. It's just a bit more difficult to add things. So that would sit there. And that would sit there. Now, it depends on how much of this you want showing. You want to have these so that they are literally butted up next to each other. So you know what, I am going to cut another centimetre off each of them. So they're only going to be 5.5. So they're going to be 9.5 by 5.5. And then you'll get to see more of the paper top and bottom. So that's going to go here. I'm hoping that that's straight. It doesn't look straight to me. It looks a bit wonky. I'm not gluing them yet. I'm just having I call it a dry fit, just to see what it kind of looks like. Oh dear, what has gone on there? Let's try again. Oh, yeah, I was right, it was slightly out. That might be a bit better. If you end up, because you just can't slither off the cardstock and it's a bit sort of furry, you can trim it with the paper snips. What I like to do is, if you've got one of these erasers, that's a glue eraser, then you can just simply run it up and down your cardstock and take off those little fuzzy bits. Let's see if that's any better. Hopefully it'll look a bit better. Okay, so that's going to go on there like that. And then the question is how to decorate them. So we could use the same paper again, or we could use the stripes. I think I'm going to use both, just to confuse you. So I know that these need to be, I'll measure this again. So the good thing about having grid paper is you can actually use it as a measure. So it's 9.5 by 5.5. So I know I need my paper to be 9 by 5. So I'm going to see. I'm going to go that way because I'm going to go this way because I want my stripes to go. Oh, let's see. So 9 and I said 9, didn't I? 9. One piece I want to be 5. Oops. Just come out of this channel like so. So that will fit onto here. And then this one, I had really wanted it to go up and down, but hey, doesn't matter. I'm going to do that as 5.5 again. It's going to be that one. Nope. 5. Get there in the end. This is the nice thing about not having things glued to start off with. And you can then just make sure that everything is how you want it. And I'm using this plainer piece here. I say plainer, it's got stripes on, because we can stamp on that and still be able to see the paper underneath. So you can stamp a sentiment, you could stamp an image. So you could stamp these flowers again, like sort of like this, and then put a sentiment on. Let's let's see what sentiments do we have in this stamp set. The nice thing about the Sentimental Park stamp set is there's all sorts, and you can actually make up your own sentiments. So we've got all these bits here, which are small fonts. So I can put just a happy birthday on if I wanted to, or I could say for you, or let's celebrate you, all sorts of things. Let's see, I think I'm just going to do a for you. Now the question is, do I stamp this first? Kind of like that. And then I can put the for you there. Maybe I'll do the for you and you first. So I've got my U, and then the little one that says for, which is always hiding. It's not it. You think I'd be able to see it? There it is. So now I'm going to be really brave. And if you use your grid paper to line these up, I'm hoping that these are straight. And I'm going to put the 4 directly above it. This is a bit of a fiddly one, this one, because it's thin. You know what, let's go for, I'm going to have to stamp these separately because I can't see enough to, I'm away at the moment and it's really humid here, so as soon as I breathe on things, it's like, I can't see anything. I'm going to use real red ink. Now, this is the old style. It's old style in that you have to push and flip. Well, it's still foam, but I don't need that. Oh, heck. See, we all make mistakes. Now, this is the bit where I need something soft. And I just realised I've got a large, solid. I don't want that to not come out, so I've got a Stampin' Pierce mat. So I'm going to use that. Put some more ink on that. It's probably, it's probably wet enough anyway because of the humidity. So I'm going to stamp my U like so. And then I need to do the 4. There it is. I knew I had another one. So I'll use a thinner block. It's not gonna, because these are photopolymer, you can sort of bend them about a bit, which also means that when you're trying to put them on your blocks, sometimes as they don't go on too straight. So that I found that the trick is that you just put them on your grid paper or whatever you're using underneath, and then just simply pick them up with your block, and then usually it's straight. So let's see, let's do the 4 on here. Excuse me if my head goes in the way. As I said, I can't actually see. I want you to see. Okay, there we go, for you. So that's that. No, I didn't want that in real red, seeing as I managed to make a boo-boo on that one. I just simply need to get my cleaner. So I've got Simply Shabby hiding around here. It looks revolting because I've used it so much. But the nice thing about it is I just simply rinse it under warm water. Sometimes I take some washing up liquid to it. And it just, it holds the ink, and then once you run it under the water, the ink will come out. So they never, once you've used them, they never look very nice again, I'm afraid. But they do the trick. So I'm going to, this time I'm going to do this, and I'm going to have this going quickly colour these again. So you'll find that the blends do go colour over paper. Sometimes, depending on the paper, you might want to use the darker colour than the lighter colour, which is what I'm going to do here. You wouldn't think that you would need the darker, but I think I do. Of course, you could do all sorts of things to decorate this. You could just stamp them onto white and die cut them out. I'm just, as I said, showing that you can actually stamp on paper. So this will end up with a slightly stripy appearance, but that's okay. It's a little bit different. And I want my real red again for the centre. Now, $64 million question is what colour? I'm going to do these ones green. I know on the inside I didn't, but what the heck. So I've got some old olive. Again, I'm using the darker colour. Right, so I now have this. So that's going to go directly onto there. Say I've got a little bit of fuzzy edges of my paper, so I'll just quickly take those off. Glue this to that piece of real red. Like so. Add this one to, so that's just my plain paper that I haven't stamped on. I don't think stamping on this really busy piece would be too successful. And then all that I need to do now is to decide, do I want to put this at the bottom and that at the top, or vice versa? Actually, I think I quite like it that way. And then the trick to add these is when you glue, you only glue one at a time for a start, but you glue one to one panel and you glue the other to the other panel, so that when they open, you'll see in a second, they are each stuck to different panels. And just remember not to glue put the glue on all the way over. I'm just bringing this in so that I've got roughly know where to place this, because I kind of wanted top and bottom the same. So that's going to go here. Just try and make sure that it's level. It's just sometimes easier said than done. So you see now that one is glued to that piece. So this piece I will glue to the piece on that side. But I just double make sure that I'm actually putting the glue on the right side before I do. And butt that up against that. I'm going to lift it up so that I can actually see that it's straight, because with the wet glue you can move it around a little bit. Oh, when I say a little bit, I don't mean that much. There we go. Let that dry for a second. And then when you open it, open like that. So you will see, and it'll stand like that. I don't know if you can see, hopefully you can see from the top. I guess we need to add a bit of bling, so we can add some bling, or we can add some wink of Stella, or we could do both. Let's see what I got. So we've got at this, what's going on at the moment. So we have, I thought I had more than this. Let's see, can I use any of those? Yeah, I could use that. So these are the in colour dots. I'm just going to use the Moody Mauve ones. So at the moment we've still got bonus days, so we've got till the end of the month, which is Monday next week, to place an order for £45 or more, and you earn yourself a bonus coupon that you can redeem in August. Let's see, just put that there, I think. There we go. Wink of Stella, or should we put the wink of Stella on? Maybe I'll put it on some of the flowers. Or maybe all of them, what the heck. That's it. Okay, so that is my finished card. What else is going on? It's really just bonus days at the moment, so that ends next Monday. And then August there will be Kits collection will be going on sale with up to 30% off some of the kits, so that's worth looking out for. And I get to see the new September to December mini catalogue later today. That will be exciting. And then I can next week I can pre-order. So if you want to join the Acorns, I'd love to have you on board. If you leave it till 2nd of August, you too will be able to add some items from the new mini catalogue as well, which is always exciting, being able to get your hands on stuff before other people. What else is there? You can order your kits now for Card and a Cuppa. So there's all sorts of little bits and pieces going on. Anyway, so I digress. This is my finished card. So that's that one, and then that's my original sample. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing this. I will get the video, excuse me, uploaded to YouTube, and all the measurements will be on that in the description for cutting for this. So hopefully you'll be able to pick that up later in the week. And next week will be another Stamping and Creating at the same time, 2:30 on Wednesday. So take care and enjoy your week. Bye.